To call our meeting to order. It's the Town of Southington Board of Finance meeting. Today is March 27th, 2024, and we are starting at 7:10 because we had some technical issues that we've resolved. So if we'd all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, our roll call, please, Jim?
Mr. Lebenek? Here. Mr. Pocock?
Here.
Mr. Beaudoin?
Here.
Ms. Mazzarella?
Here.
Mr. Stanforth?
Here.
Chair Larry?
Okay, everybody's here. All members are present. There are no public hearing items. We'll go to old business, looking for a motion to approve the minutes of the February 14th meeting.
So moved. Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion, corrections, anybody? Any issues? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? All right, the minutes of February 14th are now official. Now we have to approve the minutes of the March 6th, 2024 special meeting and the public hearing on the $15 million bond issue. Do we have a motion to approve the March 6th minutes?
I make a motion to.
Motion to second. Any discussion, corrections?
Roll call, please, Mr. Chair.
What?
Roll call, please, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Okay, we'll go to a roll call vote on that because it has the public hearing item in it.
Mr. Pocock?
Yes.
Mr. Beaudoin?
Yes.
Ms. Mazzarella?
Yes.
Mr. Stanforth?
Yes.
Mr. Lebenek? Chair Larry?
Yes. Okay. Now comes our budget recommendation. According to the charter, the Board of Finance has to recommend the budget to the town council, and it's here where we do that. We've had various meetings. We've met with the town department heads. We had question and answers go back and forth with the general government side and with the Board of Ed. We've held 4 workshops where we sat around the table, worked through the issues, asked questions. We had good collaboration from general government leadership and Board of Ed leadership at the meeting where we focused on Board of Ed. We appreciate the collaboration we've had during the workshops and outside of them. We've had great responsiveness, and I would say everybody worked well together, getting questions asked and answered. So the process, to me, went well. But now it's our time to vote. And one of the beauties of it is we all get elected and we get to vote. We come to how we vote based upon what we think is in the best interest of Southington. And the great thing is that everybody has their own vote to cast. The challenge sometimes is getting at least a majority of the board, which we have to do, get a majority of the board in the same place so we cast a vote. We could cast a vote that sticks. That sometimes is a challenge, and I admit that regularly at workshops and other places that when you have 6 individuals who all have their own view of what is best, sometimes you have that challenge of getting 4 of them aligned, at least 4, so we could have a vote. We've had votes over the years that were 6-0. We've had votes that were 4-2, but we can't have any. We could have 5-1, but we have to vote. So what I'd like to do is take them in reverse order, if that's okay, because there's some that I'm confident that we're aligned on. So if without objection, I'd like to start with number 4, and I'd like to ask for a motion on the year 1 of the 2024-2025 capital budget.
Motion to approve the capital budget as presented. Let me see. I can't.
24,612,744.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, as well, if you could include language and to proceed with the recommended funding strategies presented.
And to proceed with the recommended funding strategies outlined for year 1.
I amend my motion to sound.
Okay, so our motion's amended, the second's amended, and now we'll do a roll call vote on that.
Mr. Bowden.
Oh, any discussion, I'm sorry,
Oh, I'm
discussion.
sorry, yep. No vote.
Okay,
Mr. Bowdoin.
Yes.
Ms. Mazzarella.
Yes.
Mr. Stanforth.
Yes.
Mr. Lebenek. Yes. Mr. Pocock.
Yes.
Chair Larry.
yes,
Motion passes.
okay, thank you. The next one we'll do, I'll just pause for a second to say what we do here. So we do the year one of the capital improvement plan, which we just did. Then, because it's a separate fund, we'll do the sewer fund. Then we're going to go and do the animal control fund, because it's a separate fund. It's not like a regular town department. It's an entirely separate fund. We'll do that. Then we'll go up to debt service, general government, Board of Ed. So the next one on our list, if I could ask for a motion to approve 6890494 for the sewer fund budget for the fiscal year 2024-2025.
I'll make a motion to approve the sewer fund budget of $6,800,000.
Okay?
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Okay, roll call vote, please.
Ms. Mazzarella.
Yes.
Mr. Stanforth.
Yes.
Mr. Lebenek. Yes. Mr. Pocock.
Yes.
Mr. Bowdoin.
Yes.
Chair Larry.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. The next one is the animal control budget. I'm looking for a motion to approve $300,846 for the animal control fund budget for the fiscal year 2024-2025.
I'll make a motion to approve the, what is it? Motion to approve $300,846 for the animal control fund budget for the fiscal year 2024-2025.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Let's move to a roll call vote, please, Jim.
Mr. Stanforth.
Yes.
Mr. Lebenek. Yes. Mr. Pocock.
Yes.
Mr. Bowdoin.
Yes.
Ms. Mazzarella.
Yes.
Chair Larry.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. Okay, the next one is just a positioning motion here. Like to ask for a motion to approve increasing the general fund revenue interest income by $300,000 for the fiscal year 2024-2025. Do I have to read the second piece in?
It should be two separate motions.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, do that one there then, separately.
Make a motion to approve the general fund revenue interest income by $300,000.
Motion and a second, discussion?
Can you clarify, we're increasing it to 300,000 or?
No, increasing it 300,000
By
more than what was
300, yeah,
proposed.
sorry.
Going, for the record, it's going from $2,800,000 to $3,100,000.
Thank you.
Any more discussion? Roll call vote?
Mr. Lebenek. Yes. Mr. Pocock.
Yes.
Mr. Bowdoin.
Yes.
Ms. Mazzarella.
Yes.
Mr. Stanforth.
Yes.
Chair Larry.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, another positioning motion here.
Actually, Mr. Chair, just
go-
not to interrupt you, correct me if I'm wrong, Jim, the other positioning motion needs to wait until all the other passed.
Okay,
Those, you have to take the other three first,
got
then
it.
you do that one. yeah.
Understood.
Absolutely.
Okay, we'll do debt service next. Looking for a motion to approve $13,063,324 for the debt service budget for the fiscal year 2024-2025.
Motion to approve the debt service budget to $13,063,324 for fiscal year 24-25.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion on that? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Pocock.
Yes.
Mr. Bowdoin.
Yes.
Ms. Mazzarella.
Yes.
Mr. Stanforth.
Yes.
Mr. Lebenek. Yes. Chair Larry.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. Now to general government. Looking for a motion to approve $51,937,562 for the general government operating budget for fiscal year 2024-2025. Motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes. Can you
Okay.
explain to us how we get from the budget approved by the town manager to the number here?
Yep. We just saw that we added,
No, if I might help, Mr.
yeah,
Chairman.
300,000. It's 300,000 for,
No, that's
Oh,
on the
that's
revenue.
separate.
That's on the
It's the
revenue side.
reduction for self-insurance. Go ahead.
so 160.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The general government side
All
of the equation, the request from the town manager was 51,979,162, and there was discussion last evening with regards to a reduction of $41,600 due to self-insurance, an increase in the use of the reserves in the self-funded health insurance plan, which would require $200,000 less of contributions.
So it's a $41,600 reduction to what was proposed by the town manager,
That's correct.
Due to
which
self-insurance.
represents 26% of 160,000
Due to self-insurance.
due to self-insurance. Okay. Is that,
Actually, it represents 26% of the town's
26.
share, the budgetary share only.
any more discussion? Okay, let's do a roll call vote, please.
Sure. Mr. Bowdoin,
No.
Ms. Mazzarella,
No.
Mr. Stanforth,
Yes.
Mr. Lebenik,
Yes.
Mr. Pocock,
Yes.
Chair Larry.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. Okay, and the next one is a motion to approve $116,815,689 for the Board of Education operating budget for fiscal year 2024-2025.
So we can discuss, I'll make a second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. We'll move into discussion on the Board of Ed budget.
So what is the exact reduction?
The exact reduction there is 85,000 for the one person, the mix-up that we were notified of, and an additional 335,000.
No, it's higher.
Is that the number here, 118? Yeah, 118,400, yeah. So it's the 85,000 that we were made aware of. It's a 335,000 generic reduction, and it's the 118,400, which is 74% of 160,000. It's the Board of Ed side of the self-insurance that we addressed in the general government budget.
Thank you. Well, I'll start us off, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
If I have your permission.
Right
please.
ahead.
I mean, I agree that the Board of Ed was very up forward in letting us know there was an issue in their budget recommendation, and there was an $85,000 extra teacher. Although they would like to have the money, they understood that the teacher was not really voted on by the Board of Ed. It was an accident. So I can agree with that. $118,400 for the self-insurance fund. I know Mr. Betoin has an issue with this, using the self-insurance fund reserves, but I think we're good there. $335,000 reduction, general reduction after that is too much for my blood. I speak to a lot of teachers out there while I'm in this seasonal that I'm in. We really need to support them. Their jobs are getting harder and harder all the time. They've lost years, at least a year, if not two, because of the COVID pandemic when they were at home, trying to teach these children via emails and so forth. I just too much for me. I cannot support that kind of a cut to the Board of Ed budget.
And I agree with Wayne. And one of the problems has been over the years is the town council has taken our budget and of the last 7 years, 6 of those years, they've taken our budget, which we thought we had a good budget, 1-2% increase in that range or a little more, and have cut our budget for 6 times in the last 7 years, and mainly from the Board of Ed. So they've depleted the Board of Ed, and I think that's the reason, because that's one of the main reasons for the past 2 years, we've had a spike in our interest, in our mill rate, because instead of slowly going up with our mill rate, which I think the Board of Finance agrees that's the theory that we want to do, by cutting our rate, by cutting our budget, which we thought was fiscally responsible over these last 5-6 years, and given, and we have this little cliff because of the reductions that the town council has made to our budget for the last 7 years. For that reason, that's one of the main reasons I voted no for the budget.
Any further discussion?
Well, hearing people talk here from this board, I've been around here for a lot of years, walked and talked to a lot of doors. I don't want to get political, but these people, you see the parents taking care of maybe a child that's disabled and has to have transportation. This is all increases into the budgets. And, right?
Give kudos to our Board of Education. They did a fine job. They've reduced the budget already from the superintendent's recommendation down. 6.2 is still a little high, but that's where it ended. I mean, you can't go by a percentage. You have to go by what the need is in the schools. And so I believe that money is needed over in the school budget.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, we'll go with a vote, and we'll see where we land. Let's do a roll call vote. We have a motion and a second out there. Let's do a roll call vote.
Ms. Mazzarella, you're first.
No.
Mr. Stanforth.
No.
Mr. Lebenik.
Yes.
Mr. Pocock.
No.
Mr. Bowdoin.
No.
Chair Leary.
Yes.
Motion fails.
Okay. I'd like to ask for a brief recess to caucus.
Motion to recess?
It's an automatic. You can call for a caucus
Yeah.
anytime you
Okay,
wish.
thank you.
Oh, we got to turn this back on? You ready?
All right.
Okay, we're now resumed from caucus. It is 7:39, and we'll go back again on the Board of Ed operating budget. Okay, go ahead, please. Take a motion.
I'll make a motion again.
And for discussion purposes, I will second it again.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, and we'll go into discussion, and I'll lead off a couple points. This number, where does it come from? What's in it? I think we talked about that just a little bit earlier, and in this number is a reduction of $85,000 because of a clerical error that was given to us. That's understood. There is in here the recommended use of the self-insurance fund for 118,400, and then there's a $335,000 across the board cut. We can't say what that relates to because we don't have line item control on the Board of Ed budget. What happens is we give the one number, and right now the number proposed is that $116,815,689. We give that one number, and the Board of Ed has their own finance committee and the Board of Ed itself, and they could do as they want with that money. We're giving them the authorization to spend that amount within the fiscal year as a recommendation. And again, anything we do is a recommendation to town council. So that's what makes up the number. I thought the number was a good number. It's very, very close to the number that I would have come up with if I was the only member here. And couple things I looked at. I guess I speak as an individual because when we come together for consensus, it's never one person's number. It's the consensus of the group voting in the majority. But when we look at education, we've a few months back released $730,000 roughly for school safety. We're in the process of looking at I call it the three-school solution, what happens with Flanders, Kelly, Darrenowski, and the Karen Smith Academy. Those are being addressed now by a committee. Those are two pieces. I also looked at the growth rate. The Board of Ed originally came in at what was proposed was a 6.2% increase. Personally, in my number, I thought we can't carry on at that trajectory because that's a trajectory that household income doesn't rise to meet 6.2%. And if you keep going, you cause a disparity between, what happens with household income and what happens with Board of Ed. So tried to reduce the trajectory a bit. And also, as we look at it as a total board, and that's what I ask everybody else to do, as we look at it, we have to take that number all the way down to the impact on the taxpayer. I do appreciate, when I speak with the Board of Ed, and I can go back to a conversation several years ago with Jill Notar-Francesco, who was on the Board of Ed, and we had a discussion, and she said to me, and I won't forget it as long as I'm serving in this capacity, she said, as members of the Board of Ed, we have to put forth what's best for education. We can't overly concern ourselves, while we're aware, we can't overly concern ourselves with the impact on the trajectory of it, the impact on the mill rate, what's going on with the grand list. She said, we're aware of those things, but our main charge is to put forth what's best for education. So that said, I do appreciate the number that came forward, but I feel it's, if I'm speaking just for myself, it's my job on the Board of Finance to make it all fit. If we do this as proposed, the whole budget comes out to be about a 4.24% tax increase on anybody who pays taxes, whether it's automobile tax or motor vehicle tax, whether it's real property, houses and land, business property, commercial property. We're looking at a 4.24% increase, and overall, that's where I came out. And the overall reduction that we're proposing here is $335,000, and that's on $117 million. So it's $335,000 on $117 million, to put it a little bit into perspective. So the Board of Ed budget last year was $110 million. This year, the ask is for $117 million. So we're going up. We have to readjust my numbers for what we're talking about here tonight. But the original ask would have brought us up $6.9 million. And that's where we are with the motion. Those are some of my reasonings for my number, which is very close to the number that's being proposed. But we have to get to consensus, so I lay that argument out as just something for the members to consider. Mr. Levinick?
Mr. Chairman, my comments will largely also believe up here too, that for and ultimately our job is we need to look. Boil it all down and you look at it when we start. Disappointment if the number,
Thanks, Joe. I did want to add one thing that I failed to mention. When this budget was presented to us by the Board of Ed, it was $441,000 higher for things the Board of Ed called one-time expenditures. Some could be capital, but they were one-time, unique one-time expenditures. In here, while we're not doing it immediately tonight in this budget, we're committing here to providing the funding for those one-time expenditures when we do our harvesting towards the end of the fiscal year. With the money that we save across, right, you can explain it, but the money we save across other departments, or the money that we've received in revenue higher than what we expected to receive, will have some potential surplus when we close out this year on the general government side, and we're going to direct that to funding the one-time expenditures. We did get a little bit better news. There was a request from the state to do air quality tests in every school, and they have backed off the timeliness of that
We haven't
request.
acted on that yet. In May.
May do it,
May, yeah.
but may do it and spread it out a little bit, where we only have to do it, or we'll do it over 4 years or so and not over in 1 year. But we stand ready to fund that, should that pop up as well. That's in addition to, over and above, off to the side of this. So I did want to mention that. And also, this board, members of this board have gone to take a look before getting into something else here, but about less than a week before the girls' basketball coach, Bill Queen, passed away, he approached me in a restaurant and he said, "Can I just ask for your time to look at a problem we have?" He goes, "I just want you to see it. Would you go that far with me?" And I was having dinner with my wife, and he was walking in with another fella. And I said, "I'll do that. I can do that. I'd be happy to look at anything." He asked, absolutely. And then we had an appointment. He said, "Looking forward to seeing you Friday." And on Tuesday, he passed away coaching, in the act of coaching the girls' basketball team. On the job, with the girls, coaching them, he died. So we let a little time pass, and we did take a look at what he wanted us to see. And he was not there to see it. But we went and we saw, he called it the hump water is coming in and it's humping the wooden floor at the edge of the court. We saw that the court had not been stripped all the way down to wood, repainted the stripes and everything, and then built back up. And we also saw, in a very odd way, the basketball hoops are positioned opposite to how they are probably most anywhere. And he pointed out as a big nonconformity, so to speak, and it impaired the use of the gym, the way not the main hoops, but the way the side court hoops are positioned. We will be taking that up, and we will, with the support of this board, across the board, I hope we'll be taking that up and figuring out what that number is and taking care of that in honor of Bill in a way, but also because it's the absolute right thing to do. Not because of Bill, but when you look at the floor that hasn't been stripped down to nothing and brought back up, when you see water coming in through the door and there's some drainage issue on the outside, water sneaking in, we have to fix that, rip out the wood, fix a few things. It's not an absorbent cost, but we want to take care of that for boys and girls basketball, and we want to do that because we think it's the right thing to do. So, like Joe Lebenick said, we look at it from multifaceted angles. So I still support the number we put forward. I added a little extra in there, but all of that in totality, I got to believe we're doing a good job across the board, and I just ask for the support on the motion. And so now we have a motion, a second, we have discussion. Is there any further discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I think the Board of Ed is a great steward of the money that we do give them. I don't believe there's any waste or any issues out there with the money that they get. If anybody sees any, let us know. We would love to know. I don't think you're going to find any, but from talking with you, you're very, very good at what you do. I think we're doing a great job with the schools. We can see our kids. They're graduating. They're doing their job with the money that they get, not always everything they do get that they want. So there's always things they're doing without. I guess it is to be noted that as the budgets increase, we need to take 11% of each increase and save it for our fund balance, to maintain our fund balance at the level we want. So as spending increases, we need to increase the fund balance to keep up with that, because the fund balance is based on spending that the town does. We do have some future costs coming up. You've mentioned the schools, probably a big cost there of the schools coming up. This year, we had a little bit of a small increase in the grand list, which we unfortunately haven't had in a while. We've been lucky with our grand list growth. This year was a little smaller than we liked. So with those things being said, I'm a little reluctant to, but I will agree to your motion as you have presented.
Any further discussion?
No, I had a question. So with dollar amount, does it have to be from someone that said no, the motion?
No, the motion's back on the floor.
Anyone
We
can
made a second
Is
motion.
that how it works?
We made a second motion for the same number. We have a motion and a second, and we're about to go to a vote.
Okay.
But it's the same number that was proposed originally, and it failed 2-4. That same number is reappeared here in the motion and is seconded again, being discussed again in the hopes that that motion would pass.
Never had an issue like that before, where we've made the same exact motion again. Never had that issue before. Have you ever had the issue before?
But
Man, if you want to be safe about it, obviously one of these two gentlemen can make the motion. If you're concerned about it at all, one of these gentlemen can make the motion if you wish.
what?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, if there's a
don't
question,
know.
it's an easy way to handle it.
Fine.
Right? Obviously, they're not going to make the motion, but one of these two gentlemen would have to make the motion.
But I withdraw my.
You withdraw your motion, and someone else, and when withdraw the second. Okay? So one of
Okay.
these two gentlemen would have it. That way, if there's a question, that handles that question.
Should be fine, though. Even the chair could make a motion, although it's not.
But either Ed or Wayne could make the motion because they both voted no the last time.
I'll make a motion to approve $116,815,689 for the Board of Education operating budget for fiscal year 24-25.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Jim, you want to say something?
Sure. Danforth.
Oh, you're doing the roll call vote. I thought you had something to add.
Yes.
Just want to make sure that, okay, go ahead. We're in a roll call vote. Go
It
ahead.
would be short if he did, but go ahead.
Mr. Stanforth.
Yes, again.
Mr. Lebenik.
Yes.
Mr. Pocock.
Yes.
Mr. Bodoin.
No.
Ms. Mazzarella.
Yes.
Our Chair Larry.
Yes.
Motion passes.
5-1.
5-1.
Yeah, 5-1.
5-1.
Okay, I thank everybody, and I think everybody here got a little picture of what we deal with. It sounds like a great narrative when you pick up a newspaper and you find that a whole group of people miraculously came out and voted for the exact same number, but it's not that easy to get there. And I think you got to, who was in the audience here watching it on the or the video recording, gets to see that it's not so simple that, you know, people with a certain an R or D or something next to their name are just going to miraculously vote in agreement. And that's kind of the beauty of this board. We all come here as individuals. We all vote what we individually conclude is the right thing for the town, and that is the absolute beauty of how it works. So I'm glad that we would have had to sit here forever until we had a motion, because we can't abdicate that role. We have to come forward with a vote, and we did, and I'm happy. But I do want to say, in all the years I've been here, nobody has ever told me how to vote. Nobody's ever called me and said, this is what you need to do. That I've never heard words like that or similar to that, and I'm happy for it. Almost in early years, I thought it might be different because of where I've come from. Things were done a lot different. But I'm very, very happy with the way it is. It's an honest process, and it gets us here, although at times frustrating. So I thank everybody for where we are. Now we're going to get into the normal business. We return to, I'm sorry, the one maneuver. Yeah, we have one more maneuvering vote.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, we need one more motion.
Yep.
To approve decreasing general fund revenue property taxes by $880,000 for fiscal 24-25 as a result of the prior actions.
Correct. So we don't overtax. We tax based upon the motions we made, not based upon the original proposal. So do we have a motion to approve decreasing general fund revenue, the property tax line, by $880,000 for fiscal year 24-25?
I'll make a motion. The projection of $880,000 for the fiscal year 24-25.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? I mean, this would all come back when we vote the mill rate after town council.
Well, if you didn't take this motion, you'd be taxing people too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Right.
obviously this is a
But
motion
when
you
we
take,
set
yeah.
the mill rate after town council, we correct,
There may be another
yeah.
adjustment to that.
If town council does, this board is the only board that sets the mill rate.
Correct.
Without, the town council could override us with a supermajority, right? They could override our action with a 6-3
On the budget, not on the
on the
mill rate.
budget, yeah.
On the mill rate.
Not on the mill
Mill rate
rate.
is your-
The mill rate is ours and ours alone.
You are
Okay.
yeah.
We have a motion, a second out there. Is there any discussion?
More discussion.
Roll call vote.
We're back to Mr. Lebenik,
Yes.
Mr. Pocock,
Yes.
Mr. Bodoin,
Yes.
Ms. Mazzarella,
Yes.
Mr. Stanforth, sorry about that, and Chair Larry.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, now we can get into our regular business. Thank everybody for the budget. It's
Thank
a challenging little big process we go through, and now we get on with our normal business.
Mr. Chair, may I recommend maybe a 2-minute break?
2-minute break, yeah. 2-minute break for anybody who wants it. Thank you for being here.
You're the one who wants it, okay. I was going to say,
Thank you for the break, Mr. Chairman. My blood pressure thanks you.
We're good. Okay, let's go through our assessment. I'll just let you take us through here. I don't have the absolute details in front of me, so, how are we doing on revenue?
Revenue, as included, you'll see has risen a little bit more since last month.
$3,058,000.
A little over $3 million.
3 million up.
Yep. Most of that's with this interest income and also building permits and fees.
Okay, potential expenditures over budget. Anything we should be aware of? I know the legal area was challenging us.
Nothing significant at this time, other than the item that you have been addressing periodically throughout the process of this fiscal year with the AMR case.
Well,
Okay.
The one in front of you is not AMR tonight.
That's correct.
That's a different one, but anyway, we'll get there.
Okay.
We'll get there on the agenda, yep.
The contingency line item, how are we doing spending on that?
The contingency line item is presented in your packet right now. Tonight, if the item for $30,000 is approved, Mark will have $336,500 remaining. And I also included on that sheet something I think that was requested last month, I believe by Mr. Stanforth. If I'm wrong, I don't know exactly who. Maybe just give a little summary of where the contingency went right on that sheet as well. So that's included.
Yeah.
Through the end of February's meeting, $230,000 went to our town attorney, corp counsel for that case, legal fees line item, and $3,500 went to community celebrations, the program subsidy for the Memorial Day Parade, because they forgot to bill us last year, so we needed this year, and we needed the $3,500 out of contingency.
Okay.
So that's the $233,500 that has been approved prior to tonight.
And the review of the capital projects will,
Yeah, the quarter obviously ends this week, and I am hoping to have that to you. I put it on the agenda, hopefully at your April 10th meeting for the quarter ending. That's something we do quarterly, so hopefully the quarter ending 3/31.
okay. All right, so now we'll get into subcommittee reports. Thank you, Jim, for that. Now we'll get into
You're welcome.
subcommittee reports, the sewer committee.
Still working. Thankfully. Yeah, no, everything's good there, fighting the water. But
There is one financial thing that I should bring up. The sewer committee has been working diligently with the corporate counsel and the sewer department to look after its back costs. There were several people who were several years behind, and they're working with the process, and they've been very successful. Perfectly blunt, a lot of people have mortgages on their property. When someone's behind in a utility, whether it be taxes, water, or sewer, if they're substantially behind, usually 2 to 3 years behind in that, our staff could contact the mortgage broker, mortgage bank, whatever it may be, and then they handle that. And as you know, they then pay the town, and the town gets it from the property owner. So they've been very successful. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Wayne, it's been $1 million over the last couple of months they've gotten from the.
there were some people that were up there that we would not be able to collect the liens because time
Yeah.
would be expiring. So and now there's a policy also on following up on that. That was the bigger deal, I think, that was making a policy that now, so this doesn't happen again.
Right.
But again, it's not more money there. It's just changing a receivable to a cash. Is no more income per se
Well,
in the fund.
12% interest. So that was the other thing too, so, yeah.
But you got to get it first. They got to
Yep,
pay
absolutely.
first to get that.
Absolutely, yes.
Can't write it off.
Okay, thank you for that. Public Works,
Did not meet.
okay. And we know we passed the $15 million bond issue for the roads, so the roads took a lot of damage. All right, open space,
We have a lot of movement, but we haven't gone anywhere yet.
okay.
They're all meetings,
All confidential still?
confidential stuff, yeah.
Yes, at least one property in the next month or so.
If I remember right, there's a budget for open space?
Well, we have money for open space, which we have through past referendums. Particular case, I'm not sure the exact balance of it, but it'll have to be something that the town probably next year or the year after will have to look at, going back to referendum to receive more money for that.
Fund per se,
Yeah.
capital.
It's a fund that does not expire. It's a capital fund. Whatever's in it now, but we've had, I think, in my time, at least 4 referendums of $1 or $2 million, and they've all passed overwhelmingly. So,
For purchase and some maintenance, right? We did maintenance with
well,
it, too.
purchase of development rights and property. Our maintenance comes from Kathy's office, Kathy Larkin's office. A small percentage of each time that someone records, money goes into maintenance.
You'll see that line item on the quarterly report for the capital projects fund for the quarter of the 331. You'll see whatever's line. I
right.
don't recall what's left.
Point it out to us when we meet in
I
April
certainly
10th.
will. Absolutely.
You don't remember every dollar on that thing?
No.
No. Gee.
Economic strike.
Self-insurance
Oh,
first.
Self-insurance.
Oh, I'm sorry. I checked it off. Self-insurance.
So for self-insurance, through 8 months of our budget year, we are $24,000 under budget, which is good. So we got 4 months left, and we just, our fingers crossed that we stay within budget and we don't have to get into the reserves.
Thank you. Economic strike.
They struck out and didn't have a meeting.
That's
You
good.
swung and missed.
I have to remember that.
Okay. Any other reports? Investment. We heard from the interest income, but investment. Anything there?
No.
No.
Just that
Okay.
rates are still hanging in
Yeah.
there, which is great.
Yeah, interest
Well-
rates are up, and we're able to gain revenue
Unless
from
you're
it.
bonding.
Unless we're selling bonds, which,
But we're
you know,
not bonding.
If you're
to us.
borrowing, right?
Not to the fall.
September, October.
If you're investing, you're good. If you're borrowing, you're
If the
in
Fed's
trouble.
right at all, there might be at least one cut by then.
Okay, fire commissioner liaison. Anybody go to the fire?
The ladder truck is in the state.
Oh.
Yeah, the ladder truck is in the state, and it's being final outfitted. It came all the way on its own from Ohio, and hopefully it'll be in town in the next couple of weeks, and hopefully we'll take a look at it. Pictures, I haven't seen it live.
Any other? Okay, we'll go to any public communications. Anybody from the public like to speak? No? No public communications? Any board member-to-member communications?
Mr. Chairman, if I may?
Yeah, Mr. Stanforth.
We've talked a lot today, earlier, about increasing the school budget and the town budget, and what that tax rate does to the citizens. Obviously, they have to pay higher taxes, and that's, in Connecticut, that's the tax situation that we're in. That's how the town gets its money. But it does hurt the older people in town, probably more than anybody else. There is a program, and maybe you can help me get the name. Reduce taxes, the real estate tax bill for the elderly and disabled
Through the assessor's office.
through the assessor's office. I'd like to, I don't know if you want to put it in a motion or just a suggestion that this board look at that program to see if we can't enhance it somehow to further those subsidies that are, I don't know if the word subsidy is the right word, but.
Well, you're asking if are we at the maximum amount the statute allows?
Well, we are.
Yeah. So as you know, these are called enabling acts, which means it's the state says to the towns, you're able to do this up to a certain amount of money. Your question would be, and I'll find out for you, are we currently on those programs? Are we at the maximum the state allows? You
But
can't
the-
be more, but you could be less. I just want to I'll double check for
But
you.
there's other towns doing more. So why can't
Well-
why can't we have our
I-
own program? We wouldn't get,
Oh, you're talking about a non-state program.
yeah.
I'm not familiar with those, but I'd have to find out.
If we're going to, businesses in town, we're going to give them a reduction.
Well, no, there's an enabling act that allows us to do it, though. That's what,
there's- oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. Towns function by permission, as you know, permission of the
Okay.
state of Connecticut. So obviously, anything we do would have to require.
So maybe
We could take a look into
asking the assessor where we
Yep.
are and what we can do.
We put it on as a line item for our next meeting, our April 10th. We'll talk more about, find out every program. I don't want to
Right.
just go in like a cafeteria plan, just look at the mashed potatoes. I think we'll look at everything we do where somebody doesn't pay based upon an assessed value times a mill rate, whether it's an abatement, who gets tax relief, what do we do for the volunteer firefighters? Let's look across the board, the elderly, the disabled.
We could see if Teresa can come
Yeah.
to either your April or May meeting.
Yeah, maybe we have her come and just tell us what we're doing in every category. I just want to be clear with this, where somebody's not paying just the straight calculation. Here's my property, here's its assessment, here's the mill rate. If it's not straight math, have her tell us who's getting special treatment
So
and
you're
why.
If I may just.
Not by name, but category.
Sure.
And that's
Just for-
strictly from the assessor's office only, we're not talking about tax abatements from the town council and the economic
Well-
development. That's a different issue altogether. That's
I think we
that
should
was-
look at it
that
in
was gonna be my
totality, but we'll start with the tax
Yeah, start with
assessment.
the
So in
assessor.
other words, just let's just call it the residential side of life rather than the commercial industrial.
Let's start there.
Or we'll start there, but I think
Can you put a dollar amount on
I just want to
program?
understand the whole thing.
Yeah, we can do that, yeah.
Thank you.
And we also are still looking at insurance overall for our risk management. That's another thing we kicked off.
Yeah, if anybody would like anything on the agenda, if you want to run it through you, I'd always asked in my career to run something through the chair.
Well, I think it's the only
But-
role of the chair. I guess it's I set the agenda.
Correct.
Agenda's mine.
Not the only.
It's your only.
And I signed the tax, what do I sign? The tax.
The suspense list.
The tax suspense list. Those two things are the only special,
The only purpose.
special privilege. I
You're
don't want
gonna
you to
live in
take one
Southington
away. I'll
history.
feel bad.
Live in such an history with that.
And run a meeting, a well.
And run a meeting.
Okay, yeah.
Sometimes we have to rails, but yeah.
Okay. Next, let's go into the administrative business, and we'll take the consent agenda, if everybody's okay, in all of its 5 components. I'll read them, and somebody could just make a motion. Appropriation, $750 for youth services prevention programs. Appropriation, $3,509 for police vehicle maintenance insurance loss. Appropriation, $2,270 for police overtime, Department of Justice reimbursement. Appropriation, $8,390 for the Barnes Museum insurance losses. And appropriation for $1,750 for the Recreation Department for the White Christmas program services.
Motion to approve the consent agenda, which is money received that's just being put back into the budget, if you will.
Second it.
All right, motion and a second by voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? All right, the consent agenda carries 6-0. The administrative business, there are 6 items. A transfer from contingency, $30,000, general fund for HR legal fees.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, this is from the HR Department. There was a long event. This is not arbitration, it's not the contractual arbitration. This is an arbitration with an individual and a discipline matter. I'm not going to get any further. That's what it was in the,
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? 6-0. Next one, departmental transfer, $5,000 to general fund, fire department for dues and conferences. Motion to approve.
Second.
Second, Mr. Stanforth. Any discussion?
I'm a firm believer in getting our people out there to meet other people in their field and learn their appropriate skills, so I'm in favor of that.
Okay, any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? 6-0 carries. Department transfer, $20,000 even. The general fund, fire for legal fees.
A motion to approve?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
Not in favor of these lawyers getting rich over us, but yeah, it's a necessary evil.
Okay. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
I'm
Opposed? Carries 6-0. Next one, contingency wages, $42,002. General fund. Yep,
As you know, in this current year budget we're in right now, I had a contingency line item for salaries because our supervisors and, of course, non-union supervisors supervisors who are in collective bargaining, they were currently in negotiation. We settled that part during the fiscal year. Therefore, we owe them back pay, and that's what this is for. And remember, the non-union supervisors, we mirror that one, so we also get our back pay.
Yeah,
okay.
There's the spreadsheet that gets into that is attached, so you can see all the
All
departments.
the
that are-
departments that are.
Those are the only departments that need it. You won't, for example, you won't see the finance department, my department on there, because I had a job opening in my office. It took about 5 or 6 paid checks, if you will, to replace that person. So I don't need the monies that were raises that 2 of my staff members received. So
Because there was enough in the salary.
there's enough in the salary line item, and so I went through the accounts, and this is right now the best, the $42,002 is right now, what looks like to me is needed. I think originally I put 40, our thought was what, this time last year was 47,000, so we came in a little bit less.
Okay, any further discussion?
I could go into it a little further.
No,
no, we got
you're
enough.
fine. We got it.
All right, put a stop.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carries. Number 5, a department transfer, $5,000 even, sewer fund training services.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve, second, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain, carries 6-0. Last one, department transfer, $2,500, sewer fund dues and conferences.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion approved in a second, any discussion?
Both of those were approved unanimously by the sewer committee.
Okay, sewer committee agrees. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain, motion carries 6-0. For information purposes, the town manager is allowed to make some movements, $1,000 for HR for training, $58 for life insurance, and $344 for medical insurance. Just a notation here. For informative purposes only, repurposing of the capital budget funds by the Board of Ed for the athletic field allocation, and repurposing of safety capital budget funds by the fire department. What is that one?
Let me take this one at a time.
Yeah.
The first one, as you recall, through budget reallocation last year, we appropriated $350,000 for the lights for the girls softball. That came in, the number came in less than that. So working with the Board of Education, they've used money, and we've used the difference in that for additional lighting at the high school. So I'm informing you that per that, I'm allowing that to happen. I wanted to make sure there's a record of it.
Okay.
The second one is the fire department. We mentioned the engine for $1.7 odd million. That came in a little bit short also. No, high. No, we have extra money. Let's use that term. So the budget was a little higher than necessary. So there's a small amount left over. So one of the things that we can use also with the ARPA money is rescue tools and the fire department. Those two of you probably have been to the fire department meetings. This particular, I would call it an ATV. It's called a UTV for the fire department. It's for rescue on the mountains, and it's something that they've wanted in their last couple of cycles. The commission requested that I look at this, and I have no problem using the last of the ARPA money for the engine itself to obtain this item.
And I was reading that, I was confused whether it was for rescue or brush fires.
Both.
It's both.
Yeah.
Okay.
Both.
So they're going to replace what they're.
Yeah, it says it's on it will provide efficiency to reach patients as well as provide life-saving medical care as well transporting to ground and air. In addition, the fleet will be deployed for current fire brush to Station 2.
Well,
It replaces an aging 1990 Ford brush unit. So I felt it was something that ARPA, obviously the big thing for ARPA is for public safety. Obviously, we allocated the 1.7 for the engine. It came in less. This is a good opportunity to spend the money.
I would, suggest that they, do a little bit of an inspection, see if we need any trail maintenance. If there's a tree down or something, I know I hike on the Blue Trail a lot, and there's a group that goes out and does maintenance of that. But in order to, the ATVs are wonderful, but not if a tree falls or something. So I think they should go out and see where they may use it, especially on our property, Ragged Mountain or some of our hot spots, and make sure that there is access.
And work with, we have one Public Works, and we have one at the police department, we have one at the water department, so they could all work together. Certainly, if Public Works can get to it, the tree you're talking about, we can use that. If not, they have their own ATV.
Well, I don't know a specific tree, but I'm just saying in
I wasn't talking about that, but if they found a tree.
Oh, but I just think we should,
Not the one in your backyard that's been causing you problems.
but I just think that we should just take a look at our main trails, our access points to the hot spots, and make sure that, the trails are clear, we can get an ATV in, or it's not going to do us much good.
Agreed.
Okay, any other items? All right, we'll seek our favorite motion at,
Before,
yeah,
can
go
I
ahead.
just ask you quickly, I should have done this earlier. The building department fees are up higher, you mentioned.
That's usually what it means. When you see the activity in the building department, that means you're going to be seeing activity sometimes over at the clerk's office too. If you're talking about new construction, it could be restaurants doing things. It could be industry doing things. But a lot of times when you see the building department fees go up with the permits, that means it's a residential thing that's going to be hitting Kathy's office relatively soon. So you might see those numbers.
So how are we doing in the building department, getting these,
Where are we current with the numbers? I know.
well, inspections and stuff? Are we getting?
Well, I know that the two Public Works people, he reports to Public Works every month. I don't have the exact numbers, Ed, but you guys, Candace, you were at the Public Works meeting when Jeff reports. He gives them numbers, and he gives them the time period with the permits, how long they take. Obviously, some take longer than others. I know statutorily you have to have them turned around in 30 days, so.
Right, but they can. Extension too, if they have.
Right, or more better, they could get it less than 30 days. That's the goal. The goal was always to try and do 2 to 3 weeks turnaround. I'm not sure currently where that is. I know once a month he reports to you guys, so maybe
Or you can get a copy, make
you
sure.
can bring the report with you next time to your next meeting.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, seeking our favorite motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion
To approve.
to adjourn.
He approves the adjourn.
The other one, the A word, yeah, I had the A word.
Motion to adjourn? Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Adjourned at 8:25. Thank you all for getting us through the budget.
Well,